Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, minutes or reports received and filed.
We do not have any
Steve's been taking it easy this week.
until next week, yeah.
Commissioner committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings.
I've got the, I guess we've got the Unilever ribbon cutting. We're celebrating the Liquid IV manufacturing lines today, as soon as we get done here. Thursday's the bicentennial concert, kicking off the Independence Day celebration. Friday will be the parade, 4 o'clock, and all the festivities then. That's about all I've got until next week.
I think the only other thing I have is, I believe we still have a West Side Business Association meeting on Thursday morning. I believe.
Okay, I've got Unilever. Tomorrow I've got a meeting with J.C. Rep. And then we've got no communities on Thursday. And then the parade's at 4 o'clock, so I will be riding in a Conestoga way. Commission comments? Bids and contracts. Bid award and signing of contract for 2025 pavement seal.
So this contract will be with Black Roads Group LLC, and it is for a total of $24,040.88. And this is a new pavement seal that we are trying out this year for a couple of the roads down in Russellville. The city of Russellville is actually using this contractor to do a bunch of their work also. And this is actually a cooperative procurement piggyback contract off of their bid. I just asked for approval to sign this and enter this contract with Black Roads Group.
Make a motion to sign a construction contract with Black Roads Group LLC for the 2025 pavement seal, project number 2025-504-1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approval of supplement agreement for professional services for Lakewood subdivision stormwater improvements.
So this will be with Riddell Engineering for a cost of $6,489.82. And this is additional design phase engineering services necessary for the completion of the project. It included additional surveying and design of one of the sites on the project. Original amount was $98,500, and so the total will now be $104,989.82.
You always come in under. What are you slipping?
This is design work, so.
Oh,
You know how
okay.
I
engineers
said
are.
nothing about that.
Okay.
You usually make Eric come up here with the
It's
additions.
Eastern District, so I can go over there.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve and sign a supplemental agreement with Riddell Engineering for the Lakewood subdivision stormwater improvements, $6,489.82.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Signing a request for project extension.
So this is a letter to CDBG for an extension of time for the grant for the Southbrook Stormwater Project. there are several factors involved with the delay on this, and we're proactively working on getting right of way for the project currently. This grant is a total of $500,000 altogether. I just need Sam's signature on this.
I'll make a motion to have the presiding commissioner sign the request for project extension on the Cole County South Brooks Drive Stormwater Improvement Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Breeze through that, new business, accounts payable review.
There's no accounts payable.
Second and final reading of court order number 4.
This is second and final reading for court order number 4 in the amount of $9,942 for the support of law enforcement grant.
Is this for the vests?
I believe that our, I'm not here.
Put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
Sitting under.
Highway safety.
Oh, here we go, it is attached to this, so. LLEBG,
Yeah, local law enforcement.
Local Law Enforcement Block Grant, so. Okay, I'm good. Make a motion to approve and sign court order number 4 for $9,942 for law enforcement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And doing unfinished business, discussion of on-site sewage issues in Russell.
All right, Joe, this is your show.
Well, I'm here, so last week, Jeff brought this up and just mentioned to get it on the agenda. And so, not exactly sure what, I listened in on some of that. There's, we've got, just from an update perspective, there was one person that, did think that they had found enough funding to be
So,
able to.
I'll take the heat off you, Joe. I brought it up again, asked for an update last week, and so that's why we asked Joe to come in here this week, and we need to keep things moving on it and figure out what we're gonna do with it. Cause we kinda got, I think, it sounds like we kinda got high centered. There were some options out there. I think Harry even met with them. Trying to get a solution.
Right.
And so if we've come to a solution, it sounds like we haven't, then we need to decide what we're gonna do.
Right.
So,
And James from Russellville is here, also Christina is here, Christina Piron, and so, last I knew, Cassandra Carter commented that they have funding to tie in, so, but it was tried to be a dual, situation where both properties, were able to, would be able to secure funding and, for a, better rate, be able to do this together. I just talked to Christina a little bit ago. I think they still do not have funding
I
at this
have tried
time.
every option that people have gave me. And the bank's not gonna loan money to somebody that their debt to income ratio isn't gonna allow it.
Was the, at the last meeting I attended, the attorney for the city of Russellville proposed an idea that Russellville, because they're picking up 2 new wastewater clients, right? Were considering funding the project to be repaid by the 2 residents. Is that still in play?
No. According, well, in the meeting I was at,
No,
there
not
was no.
anymore, because of, one is because when she brought it up, she had brought up the attention about knowing who's gonna pay for what, like the electric and stuff. And she didn't wanna be left out alone without not having the electric paid for. So there was another proposal that was sent to Joe about having that one tank put in for two, and each one of them would have their own divider and be separate, so they would have to pay for the 15 grand on each side by themselves, and that would be the bottom line. The other one that we talked about, Harry, that one was, the city's not gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. At a meeting so at Russellville, they were very adamant that they would not fund that. Kind of, I think, some of the same situation where they did not want the city to fund that.
And maybe it's not quite accurate to say fund. It would be to pre-fund to be repaid. I'm mixing words up here, but it wasn't the city paying for it and everybody goes away. It's the city pays for it and it gets repaid, but they're not willing to do that.
Correct. They
Okay.
didn't want to be the
Fine.
bank either.
Got it.
basically.
Okay, they didn't want to be the
The
bank.
loaning institution.
So, every day there's a potentially a violation going on out there.
Every day, yes.
Okay. So at some point, we've got to say, the violation's got to stop.
Yes, and we used to try to abate properties and actually, put it on, so get somebody to bid on it and then put that on their bill or whatever. But this is OWTS is pretty expensive. And so a lot of times when we would abate properties, it would be like cleanup or whatever. They had too much trash, and it might be $8,000, which, still a lot of money, but not crazy. And so most people would be able to afford not risking losing their house to pay that $8,000 off. It might be a little bit different in this situation because it's more like approximately $15,000 to put in to tie into that system. To tie in the Russellville system is going to be $14,500, somewhere in that range,
For two parties,
each party.
each party.
Mhm.
I'm saying, okay.
There's been some, a couple different times, but yeah, the way I understand it right now, it's about almost 15,000 for each.
All right, and if only one did it, it's 30 or thereabouts?
It
If
shouldn't be
one-
that much.
No, it'd still be 15 either way. Because the one, if they do it by their house, they're only separate, it's 15. And if they do it together, because they're still separate tanks and everything's gonna be separate from them. Each
Yeah,
one.
but there's only one boring under the
Yeah, I
road if
think
they're
the board would end
together.
up costing an extra.
But there's two pipes going under if they do it individually.
I think it would raise it a little bit
Right.
with the boring, because only one person would be paying that instead of two.
Right.
So I do think it'd raise up at least $1,000, I think.
Let's hope not, but yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it may be $2,000 or whatever, but anyway.
What does the Cole County Health Department suggest as a solution?
Well, I agree with the assessment that you mentioned earlier that, we do need something, it's not healthy. We would normally not want this to be going on this long where sewage is leaking from somebody's property and eventually getting onto somebody else's property. That's not a good situation. We would like that to be corrected as soon as possible. I don't know what as soon as possible is.
We've still got the violation going on, so something's gotta be done with it, and I guess our options are to cap it, go in and cap it.
If we,
If we want to, we could go in and put a system in, and then put the tax lien on the property, which I'm gonna tell you, I'm 99.9% against doing that on the rest of the taxpayers' money.
Well, but similar to what Russellville had was once proposed, it is not taxpayer money spent that doesn't get repaid. In other words.
Possibly,
Well, it's billed against the property.
it'd be billed and due at the next tax payment of it, the way I understand it, and if it's not paid then, I guess it go for sale on the courthouse steps.
After 3 years.
After 3 years.
Yeah, got it.
And then in
Okay.
3 years, if it's still not paid and it goes for sale, I guess that would be one of the first things that's paid. But then
Mhm.
who's gonna buy it with a $15,000 lien on it? You know, possibly. Do we get our money back in 3 years?
Well, capping it makes the place uninhabitable in short period of time. Right? But
It's uninhabitable now, in my opinion. So, it's not doing anything besides keeping it off of the neighbor's property. And, which if it was my property, that's what I would be more upset about.
I would not like to have it capped, straight at the house. I would think that we would, at the minimum, want a holding tank. But that's just, even that, okay, so if it might cost, $7,000 to $7,000 to $9,000 to actually have a holding tank and cap that at the end of the holding tank, but then there's gonna be approximately $500 every time they have to, have that pumped out. So that might be hard to keep up with if you're having
So
to
we
pump
did talk
that out.
about that, Joe.
Right.
If they wanna put a tank in there for less money, they can still get it pumped, which is gonna be more money to do that every month, right? Or how often?
Well,
Every
it's
2
gonna
weeks?
be it's not gonna be as, it's gonna be cheaper to actually get a system and pay that by month than it would be to pump out every month.
In the long run.
Oh, yeah, even in the short run. If you're just making payments, but that's the problem, is there's not the funding to make the payments.
Yeah. But if we put a holding tank in it, then why not hook it up to the city sewer for 6,000 more and put that
Yeah,
on there?
exactly. That's,
So, I'm either cap it right there, or if we're just gonna bite the bullet and tap into the, Russellville, and basically, I guess that gives her 3 years to figure out how to get it paid. This has been going on for 3 years, though, 2 years,
2 years, almost 2 years, yeah, fall of
so.
23.
I just think there's been plenty of time to get something done, find some kind of solution, sell the property, buy something else, or rent somewhere. I just think there's other options than for us to have it put on us, so. But if you wanna go that route to hook into it, put the septic in there, hook into Russellville's, put it on the property and try to get our money out of it in the next tax payment or 3 years, whatever happens. That one's on the west side, so Sam could be a tiebreaker if nothing else.
I am not for evicting somebody and just saying, but I know we're got a question of $15,000, but,
we sometimes face issues where we have to cut the baby in half. Those are difficult, but this one might even be more difficult than cutting the baby. I don't know. What if we, I'm talking about hours or days, gave the two residential owners X hours, X days to obtain the solution, and if not, we will proceed with one of about 3 options. One being cap as close to the affluent as possible. Second, to cap as far away from the affluent, but still on that property. And third would be to spend some money to basically put a holding tank or holding tanks in.
Yeah, we don't have to make a decision today. I
What-
think
the
that I
deci-
would like to
I'm
set,
sorry.
to do like you said, give them some time and say, here's a allotted amount of time, and then the abatement hearing will be on such and such date. Whether
Okay.
that's 2 weeks or 2 months, but we kick the can down the road on things a lot of times, and this one's happened long enough. So it's time we do something.
Well, so today is we need to decide the drop dead date.
I
In
think
other
so.
words,
That
if-
kinda-
If they haven't come up with a solution by X date at high noon, we will proceed. So do you have a suggestion as to how many days?
I don't, when I talked to Joe, I said, you know, what do we need, another month, put a month out there? Do you think you can get something, is anything gonna change in 2 weeks or 2 months? I mean, I wanna work with
I'm
you, I'm
still-
not kicking you out like Sam,
Like
you
I
know,
said,
said we
I
were,
have
we're
been
not
working on
kicking you
this
out.
since the company put the hole in the top of my septic tank. And it's been one of those cases where this has been ongoing before the issue with mine, but nobody's brought that up to the attention either of the other property. Because James and I were just talking about that before the meeting started, that when the previous owner owned that down the hill, there had been stuff about it, nothing ever got done about that either, so that's actually been going on a lot longer than this. And that was before Joe took over the health department.
So I'm not understanding what we got going.
I'm
The
not sure
lagoon
where
issue
that,
was done
the
way
lagoon
before,
at
before
Cassandra's.
Cassandra ever bought that. It was when Mr. Owsley owned it and it had been turned in by other people.
Yeah, and I wasn't here, I don't know what, I mean,
I mean, I'm still working on it. I'm trying everything I can. I mean, the only other option is to try to find a cosigner to go to the bank, but then I have to make sure those payments are within reason, because I also have 3 kids I have to feed. And I pay all the bills out there. Then we've got the sewer bill on top of that, and then I got a letter that they're doubling the water and sewer bills in Russellville for anybody that's not part of the city limits.
did that,
That's still on hold, but yes,
it still is
It
possible?
states July.
it's not, it's on hold. They put it on hold because somebody sent the letter out before it got approved by the council.
Because I know my water bill runs, so I know my sewer's gonna run if it's double.
So is anything gonna change if it's 2 weeks or 2 months or?
Like I say, if I can get 60 days, I'll try whatever I can. I mean, I can't refinance anything because that's just not an option. Because I've actually thought about refinancing my mortgage, but I know the bank won't do that with the interest rates being the way they are now, and that'd probably triple my mortgage payment. The only other option is try to take out a personal loan for it.
Cause I think the one property does have the funding, the way I understand it,
That's what I
so.
believe.
Is there a lien on the, if you don't mind me asking, is there a lien on the property as it sits now? Do you have?
I've got a mortgage on it through the bank.
Okay, so you do have a mortgage on it,
Mm-hmm.
and they've said that they can't do any more on that.
No, they won't rewrite a mortgage on that.
I was about to suggest 2 weeks, 15th, but maybe, I heard ask of 60 days, 2 months.
If we have a set date, I just think we need to have a set date instead of just, okay, well, I'm just.
It's not
put
like
it-
I've been sitting there not trying to take care of it. I have been making phone calls since day one.
I do understand
And I've
that, but
got
if I'm the
funds.
neighbor and it's coming on my property, it's just,
I understand that.
I don't, there's a certain amount of time that I'm gonna give you to get it taken care of, and so.
I'd propose a time and date of 9 a.m. on the 29th of July. That's 4 weeks from today.
Yeah, I'll second,
Okay.
so.
So my motion is that 9 a.m., the 29th of July, is the due date for a solution that is proposed by the parties, and if not, the county will take appropriate action.
Okay, second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So then did we set the date, or you said 60 days?
No, I used the 29th
Okay.
of July.
29th,
for-
July. Yeah.
So we do have a date. Not July, the August, right?
No, July
July.
29th. He did not want to.
You went one,
I went-
So
basically.
you went 30 days or 60?
I did half.
Oh, you did half, okay.
I did half of what was asked, but twice what I proposed originally. So-
Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be fixed by then, but if you can have an agreement with All Clear that says we've got this figured out, and they're gonna get to it as soon as possible, that's just what we're trying to get to, some kind of solution, so.
Okay. We're done.
Are we at number 9 for closed
Think so.
session?
Closed session, I would entertain a motion to go to closed session.
Pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, the commission will go into closed session to discuss the following: personnel under section 610.021 subsection 13.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sam,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes. Steve, you got a second?
Yeah, we're in the closed session.
Oh, so you got more than a second?
Yeah.